Welcome to Foodie Live. It is Thursday, April 15th, 2021, and today we're talking about restaurants reopening. Here is our team of panelists today. There's me. I'm Chris, a marketing manager here at Sysco. Chef Say is our senior director of culinary development. Debbie is one of our business resource consultants, and Sharon is one of our directors of marketing. At foodie.sysco.com, you will find amazing resources to help you continue moving forward and reopening your restaurant. When you visit foodie.sysco.com, you'll see the restaurant's reopening header at the top of the page. Click that and it will take you to all of the resources we talk about today. Or you can go directly to the landing page at foodie.sysco.com/restaurants-reopening. As COVID restrictions lift, don't assume that we will return to pre-pandemic norms, such as all-you-can-eat buffets. As restriction orders are relaxed, many of those restrictions will become industry best practices. Many of you will continue to leverage outdoor dining, curbside, and touchless menus. Many of your guests will expect that social distancing will continue to remain until vaccinations are fully implemented. Your guests are looking for a dining experience that makes them feel that their safety is a top priority. Sysco is here to support you in your efforts to keep focused attention on protecting those guests and your business. This allows you to focus on what you do best, providing a consistent, amazing experience that your guests can count on. As you move forward with indoor dining services, it is important that you lay out your strategic plan, including safety and social distancing standards, contactless ordering and payment options, the power of online and social media presence, and the training and resilience of your team. For the unforeseen future, we will need to continue to exercise social distancing of at least 6 feet between us and all environments. In addition to masks and sanitation, there's a second tier of equipment you may need to consider and may have already considered, such as barriers and safety shields. Sysco Marketing Services has you covered with marketing tips, tricks, and services to take the work off of you for things like creating your menu, signage, and social media posts so you can concentrate on what you do best. So let's talk about this past year with our panelists. Sharon?
Thank you so much, Chris. As you guys know, it's been a year and it seems like it's been forever ago, but when we look back on this past year, we really see somewhat of a domino effect that had happened. And we have seen in the food service that, restaurants either closed or they shifted how they're doing their business. And you had to change your structure, right? And then you had labor reductions in food service. And this is from your staff, our Sysco staff, drivers, warehouse, and even suppliers, because production decreased. So what happened with that is, the product demands shifted and we saw shortages and excess inventory in some cases. So think about what was shortage. Well, we had toilet paper towels, hand sanitizer. I mean, that's really, a big shift of the demand. And so then we even had excess inventory. And many of you experienced that with your items in your freezer, in your refrigerator, whether it was expired or it became, you had to freeze it. So you guys, restaurants really had to pivot, and you had to rework your menu based on product availability and the labor that you had and the packaging. What traveled well, what kind of foods traveled well, because we all shifted to curbside and pickup or takeout. And again, we had to reduce the labor. And then we put a lot of sanitation and safety precautions and we put those in place. So just like Chris was mentioning, some of those things are going to will be here to stay. And that would be one of those that has been implemented. As you pivoted your restaurants, again, you had to really look at your menu because you wanted to make sure that You also had the availability of product for your customers. Many of you even learned a digital presence, right? With webinars, with websites, social media, and contactless options that you had to keep your restaurants safe. So then we kind of had a new normal, right? It was kind of like, rearranging your dining room, looking at your state and what you could, the capacity that you could have. You increased your takeout and delivery, and we kind of settled into a new norm and hoping for a vaccine, right? The supply chain slowed down, and so the demand decreased. Supply chain kind of follows that based on demand. So now where are we today? If we'll go to the next page, we'll talk about now that the pandemic, now that we're moving away from the pandemic, we have people getting vaccines, and we also have the progression of opening back up. So as we're opening back up, we kind of have a reverse effect. Unfortunately, though, our labor needs really are increasing, and not everybody's coming back, right? So we need servers, we need cooks, dishwashers, and so it needs workers. And that's one of the things that we are working on to try to help with some additional thoughts and help you in your labor needs. So as far as, just our distribution staff, we're trying to, again, we need drivers and warehouse folks, and suppliers need production to increase and get additional additional workers for their business. So same with you guys. And we were just talking too right before the call started, is that we have, we were asking the question, who has gone out to eat lately? And, people are still, restaurants are operating at different capacities, but consumers, your patrons are willing to wait because everybody's getting anxious to get back out there. We've been cooped up for a year. We really want to get out there and not just, socialize, but get out there and visit our local restaurants and again, meet like we did, pre-pandemic. So as weather gets warmer, outdoor dining is coming back. We still have some shortages. So what can we do to help you guys? And that's kind of what we're talking about today, is some value added items to help you guys. So value added products, but quality. We don't want to decrease the quality of product, but we want to make sure that we have product for you, and that because of the reduction in labor, that we have items that will help you as you go day to day in your business, whether it's shredded lettuce, pre-cut meats, those type of items. So with that, as we continue to try to get labor and also meet the demands that you have with products, we're going to talk a little bit today. And I'm going to jump in and have Chef Say and Debbie Gonzalez and Chris Turner kind of help as we go through. What are some of the things that you're seeing out there happening today as you are out there visiting customers? And what are some things that you can help us with when we talk to our customers? What can they do to help them?
Debbie, do you want to go first on that? Because I definitely have some thoughts, but I want to throw the floor open to you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So I can definitely see that the labor shortage is one of the large problems that is going on out there. And we do have a few ideas that you can use. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later in the webinar, but one is really just focusing first on your brand and making that an exciting place to work. I think it's difficult to kind of reevaluate where you're at and what's going on, and everybody's busy, but really making that the place that people want to come and want to work is going to help with increasing applicants.
And you were also talking about the technology piece of it. You had some really interesting points on that I really liked. Would you share those thoughts?
Definitely. So I think, we've focused on a lot of technology when it comes to helping our customers and trying to make it easy for them to order and doing contactless payment like Sharon was talking about, that sort of thing. But we also want to remember that the technology piece has really been fast forwarded in our everyday lives as well, and even as staff and workers. And when we go to work, it's going to be a lot easier for us if we have the technology there as well. We're used to using our cell phones and our smartphones for every day now, and doing all of our ordering and all of our work online. So that should also be something that we think about in the restaurant business, is how can we make it more efficient for our staff to do the job? And whether that is in the kitchen or in the front of house, it's really important to think about, if I give the tools to my staff and make it easier for them, they're going to be more efficient, and they're used to using technology. So it's a big deal to bring that in on the operations side as well as on the customer facing side.
And how about when people are applying for jobs? Because I know a lot of people are struggling to get people in the door. How does technology play into that with this young?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I think when it comes to applying for jobs, it definitely, you need to make it easier for the staff to find you. We've all really migrated to using websites and searching for things online before we go anywhere, specifically to see if the places are open and what's going on. So that also should be the case for applicants. They're online at their homes. And let's make it easy for them to be able to apply online and get that information to you that way, instead of them having to stop in and fill out an application in person.
Yeah, that's a really great point, because, you know, this younger generation is so technology savvy. And when we're competing for, you know, people in the workforce, being able to attract, you know, that young savvy generation, we can't be doing those paper applications anymore, can we?
Yeah, I think it's important to still have those for sure available. But yeah, I think the majority of the people are online, and just being able to have that ease of filling it out while you're still at home is going to increase that application collection.
That's a really good point.
And I was going to ask you guys a question too. What would you suggest to our customers when it comes to helping everybody understand what is going on? What are some tools that they can use to help them when it comes to the communication piece of not just hiring, but also their menus and, you know, what they have available, things of that nature?
Debbie, do you want to take that one? I bet you have some insight as well.
I'm sorry. I'm not really sure. What are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just asking, like, what can we help our customers with and I'm thinking more along the lines like with social media, you know, making sure that they're telling the hours that they have available and their the different menu offerings that they have, that they make sure
as far as the restaurant promoting themselves.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so definitely online, you need to be on your social media and your website. You know, the number one thing that people look at when they go to search a restaurant is the menu. Typically it's, you know, a Google search first, and then it's a click to the website, and the first option on the website is usually the menu. So streamlining that menu to make it easier for your staff is something else to think about. I know we talk a lot about streamlining the menu because of the inventory levels and the different things that we're able to get right now with shortages, but also streamlining that menu to make it easier for your staff to execute. You know, when we're thinking about labor in the kitchen or labor in the front of house, the smaller the menu, the faster that kitchen can work, and the less steps that they have to do. So it's all relative when it comes to streamlining your menu. So I think that's something to focus on as a brand too. Like, what's really important to me and what do I want to showcase, and really focusing on those main items.
And that really ties into, you know, making sure that everything is cross-utilized within your menu. So you're not bringing in items that just do, you know, one duty, for example. And before we talk about some value added products, which I think are really important in today's kitchens, especially when I'm talking to operators and they're like, I can't hire anybody. I can't even get any decent applicants. One of the things that I've noticed, and I just want to put this out there, I was wondering, is it the new, the unemployment has been extended, and so people just aren't going to go back to work. So I did a bit of research. Since I've been a former chef instructor, I keep in touch with a lot of my former students, and I put the question out there. I'm like, why aren't you applying for jobs? And the answer wasn't because I'm going to stay on unemployment. The answer was, I'm getting out of the industry. And I would say of the roughly, students that I talk to, 50% are getting out of the industry because what they realized by being let go during the pandemic is that they got to spend more time with their families. And, this industry is also rife with discrimination, and it is a very challenging place to work. And we tend to be a little bit harder on our employees. So the interesting thing is they want quality of life. So when you're trying to attract people, being able to show that you have a very opening, welcoming environment to work in, I think it's going to set you ahead. The other thing is, because a lot of culinary schools are closed, there's a shortage of labor in the market. So what I'm suggesting to my customers is that when they look at their menu, they focus on value add. And I think on the next slide, we have some examples of that I've been playing around with and have been absolutely loving. So breakfast is a huge thing right now. Brunch, Mother's Day is coming up. And, I love crepes. They're fantastic, but boy, are they a pain in the neck to make, especially for a crowd. And so we're calling this fast scratch. So it's using something that's already made and then adding your own spin on top of it. So in this example, we're using a crepe that's already done, frozen, ready to go. All you do is just pop it in a flat top or an oven for literally 15 seconds. And then you wrap it in whatever fillings. And I also call this crepe a la walk-in because it's a great way to cross-utilize anything you have left over or that you need to sell. So if you have leftover turkey and cheese, voila, you've got an awesome crepe. If you've got leftover fruit from a fruit, well, then there you go. Add a little whipped cream, chocolate sauce, and you're good to go. On the next slide is another example of some fun things that I've been playing around with. Puff pastry is incredibly hard to make, and it's very labor intensive. And if anybody's out there has done this, you know what I'm talking about. But we have a beautiful puff pastry that's already done that is just exquisite. And you can have so many fun things to do with this. You can turn it into something sweet. You can turn it into savory, like you see I've done an heirloom tomato tart. And you make these in advance. You put them in the refrigerator, and then the next day, all you have to do is heat it up. So your ticket time on this is literally 5 minutes. Then on the next slide, also coming into Mother's Day, you can tell I'm on a pastry kick here. When I worked in Paris at a very fabulous bakery, and we used to make our croissant dough from scratch. But again, it's very labor intensive. So these are little mini pain au chocolat that are already done, egg washed and proofed. So you don't have to be a baker in order to offer these items. So again, this is something that I'm seeing a lot of people do for Mother's Day. And then the last thing from fast scratch idea, I love mac and cheese, and again, we're looking at comfort items. So I thought, why not take a pre-done white cheddar mac and cheese, add some burnt ends that we already have on hand, and you don't have to add that much. And then some paprika breadcrumbs, and you put these in little cast iron skillets the night before, you pop them in the oven, and again, your ticket time on this is 7 minutes. So thinking about, what can you do with the items that you have on your menu, and then use those fast scratch items so that you don't require such a huge amount of labor in the future.
Thank you so much for sharing that. The cross utilization of what you were talking about too is important when it comes to items that you can continue to, just add something to even a dressing that you could utilize several different ways and make it your own and make it a signature one. So with that, we'll go ahead and go on to Debbie's going to talk a little bit more about some staff training and some additional pieces that we have available for you when it comes to our Foodie solution partners.
Thanks, Sharon. And thanks, Chef Say, because now I didn't have breakfast. You guys were talking about that earlier, and now I'm like, okay, what am I going to make? So thanks for the inspiration. So let's talk a little bit about staff training and just the refresh. And as you're hiring back in staff, whether that's new or employees that you're rehiring again, I would recommend going back and just visiting your guest service standards. Those may have shifted a little bit since the implementation of masks or gloves or contactless payment or any of those technology pieces that you have added. So just ensuring that whatever the new standard is for your guest service, that you're revisiting that and making sure that your staff is aware of the new expectations. And that may include updating your training documents with new sanitation procedures or takeout or curbside, if you've added third-party delivery, what that looks like, and putting that in writing again. And, you know, ensuring that there's efficient service for faster table turns. This is going to be key with still having a minimum capacity, right? You want to make sure your table turns are as fast as they can be. So what steps can you change in service standards to make sure your table turns are happening even faster? Again, I'm going to reiterate the, you know, minimizing your menu to make that more efficient for a faster table turn. And then we already talked a little bit about technology. You know, what have you put back into play, or what are you looking to add? I would jump on that as soon as possible. There's a lot of great deals out there with some of the POS systems, and they're all wanting to help out our restaurant businesses. So I would look at what, if you haven't done contactless payment or contactless menus, or have your website set up with online ordering, definitely jumping on board with that and getting that going.
Yeah, and on technology, as Debbie mentioned earlier, especially on Google My Business, on your website, the dining in option is changing. So don't forget to go to those places where you changed it to you're not available for dine in. If you open up dine in, find everywhere that may show that your dine in is closed. Make sure it shows open, update your hours. And as Debbie mentioned earlier, with technology, one thing you can do today, purchase from yourself. Act as a guest, be at home, take your phone, go to your website, order dinner, go through the entire process your guests go through technology-wise, and find those hiccups that can be fixed quickly, because it will be noticed.
That's such a good point, Chris, because you're just taking usually feedback from your guests. So if you do it yourself as a guest, that's a great idea. All right, we can click to the next slide. Okay, so we do have some service and solution partners. If you go to our Foodie website that Chris had mentioned before, you'll see some of these partners on there. The three that I wanted to point out, the first one being ADP, they can help with the employee policies, electronic payroll, unemployment, and some additional pieces to staffing. So I would definitely check them out if you are not using a system yet. And then Cheddar Suite is a great system that has multiple tools, but what they're offering for free is the scheduling tool. I highly recommend trying to get a scheduling tool online for your staff. It is way easier for your staff to log in and see what their shifts are from home than having that paper posted up in the back of the kitchen or wherever you're posting that they have to come in and check it. So the goal is to try and not have as many people there if you don't need them there. So having that online scheduling is key. Food Service Training Portal is a great company that we work with that has online learning and development training programs. So I recommend getting your training online, because what better way to have your staff learn than not having to have them in your building learning. So if you can do that where they're not, they're socially distanced, they're at home and they're learning, plus you can update that and it's all in one place instead of worrying about outdated packets that are printed and paper packets and spending money on that. The online learning program is a great way to go.
We do have a question that came through. The question is that they are not really struggling with anything yet, just really concerned about product availability. Do we have any insights that we can share with, concerns around product availability?
Chef Say, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I would be happy to. And yes, that has been an issue because not only is the labor force challenging for the restaurant, it's challenging for the food service industry as a whole. For example, in the meat packing plants, because we have to have social distancing in place and all these different measures, we can have fewer people on the floor, unfortunately. So the kill rates right now have dropped. So, beef is in a little bit, and I significant shorter supply. And that's true for a lot of manufacturers who are manufacturing some of those value-added products that I showed you. So what Sysco is trying to do is our merchandising department are working very closely with our different vendors to make sure that we're having the supply flow that we need in order to support our customers. And, if there are specific concerns, one of the things that I would recommend that you do is either reach out to your sales consultant, or, you have access to somebody like me, and you also have access to Debbie as well. So if there are questions about that, please bring that up with your sales consultant or your chef or your protein specialist. Because, a lot of times we have insight into specific products that we can help you understand. Okay, this is the expectation. And if we're going to see a shortage in this, what could we do instead, or how could we pivot?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. So if we can click to the next slide, please. So I am one of 10 of the business resource consultants, and we are here to support you. If you haven't heard of our team, we also have the specialist team, which Chef Say is a part of, and we're available virtually or in person. And we are a team of experts that, are just here to offer different solutions for you. And we can meet with you one-on-one. We can discuss your business and try and partner with you just to support you. And you can ask your sales consultant on how to book time with us. But we are here to support you as your partners. Next slide, please. And in the future, we have some more webinars coming up. So the Thursday, April 22nd is how the Restaurant Revitalization Fund can help your business. So that is a great one. You can go on foodie.sysco.com and register for that webinar. But we also are supporting with these small bites, and you can see the different dates here: April 20th through 22nd, May 18th through the 20th, and June 15th through the 17th. These are just regular one-on-one sessions with our business resource consultants, where we are focusing on the guest experience, which is a lot of what we just talked about here. What is the guest experiencing? How can I help with labor? How can I help with my brand? And you can book one of these appointments with our team. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you guys can see that. But you can also ask your sales consultant for more information on that. But these are great little one-on-one sessions with our sales consultant team and our business resource consultant team, excuse me. And we're looking forward to help you out.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Chris. I'm not sure if we had any other questions that may have come up at this time.
Yeah, if you see questions, bring them up. A couple of notes I made. I don't know if we want to just discuss them for a moment. Not just buying from yourself, but Chef Say, when she was showing, and it did make us all hungry, sharing about those new items. A lot of times we put new items on our menu and go from there. And then they may not move like we expected. And then we decide that our guests didn't want it in the first place. Those are the items that you need to push on social media. You need to put big images on the website, because it's not that your guests don't necessarily want them, it's they don't know about it. Even I will walk into a restaurant that I've been to maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't even look at the menu anymore. I've tried a few things. I know what I like, and I miss any new things that come out. So those are the ones, that's the server training and making sure your servers push those items, especially if you're making new ones based on what you've got in the kitchen to use right now. And if that changes on a daily basis, that's very important to push. On the training videos, not everyone's comfortable with it, but you you have a platform in your hand that you're able to record quick video, post it to your team, share it with your team, so that if you see something happening in the dining room, and okay, that's a trainable moment, not just for that person, but for everyone. Do an example of it later. After hours, do a quick video, share it with the entire team so you don't have to call out individuals. You're just sharing it with everyone and something you noticed. So just quick, simple things you can do with what you've got right now. And any other comments before we close out?
Actually, Chris, I just want to jump on something that you said, which I think actually could be really cool, is, if you, like you said, if you are adding new items to the menu that your customers don't necessarily know about, definitely follow up with social media. And, you work with somebody like me, like one of your business specialists, to develop that new item. And then you work with Debbie to help promote it. So it's like this 1-2 punch, and it really brings people in the door, and you start seeing more uptick in the ordering of those items. So, again, definitely use us. We are here to support you, and our goal is to see you succeed.
Absolutely. And so with that, if I want to schedule, so I'm looking at the calendar right now, what we're looking at. So April 20th through 22nd, for example, Tuesday through Thursday. How do I, as a customer, book an appointment?
Great question. Thank you. So I did post in the chat the link for that. It is a bookings link, so that you can click on that and look at the calendar. You'll be able to select any one of our business resource consultants, or you can just select a time and date and it'll choose one for you. But throughout those dates, we'll be available all day for appointments. So you can feel free to book an appointment, and we look forward to speaking with you.
So Debbie, and I hope you don't mind my
Sure.
asking. So what about times and dates outside of that, if I'm not able to do any of that? And everyone, please, literally, we are here to help you continue to be successful. So if it's not in these dates, how do I reach out and schedule with you or another business resource consultant?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked that. So we do have other virtual reviews appointments that are available outside of these dates. We, during these dates, it is the focus of guest experience, and that's just so you have an idea of what we can talk about. But if you can't make those dates, we can still book an appointment outside of that, and you'll just talk to your sales consultant on that. And we can really talk about anything operationally with your business and try and support you. So guest experience is just something we've seen has come up recently, and what we feel like is a great focus on. But there's a lot of other topics that I know you're dealing with. I know labor is a big piece. So we can definitely talk about that, and you can book appointments anytime throughout the week, even outside of these dates.
Perfect. And please remember, your sales consultant is your hub to all these resources. So if you're wanting to book with a business resource consultant or a chef or server training, your sales consultant is the hub for all those resources. So please reach out to them with anything you may need. And with that, we want to thank you all for attending today, and we hope you've gained some insights into new ways to move forward with reopening your restaurant. We hope you have a fantastic day and a great rest of your week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.